Open relationship backfired. Ex-girlfriend asked for open relationship and lost her mind when I didn't close it. I can sleep with whomever I want. Okay, I'll show you. Hello, true story. Long time no talk to. If you see in the email thread, I wrote you 2 years ago asking about advice on college or trade school. I ended up going to trade school and I am a certified welder today. I am currently part of the diving academy in obtaining certification needed to become an underwater welder. I was actually on the swim team in high school, but that doesn't count. I actually need the diving certifications, but I have job prospects lined up. As my father's best friend is an underwater welder, so is his cousin. I'll be moving to Virginia soon. Thanks for everything. I'm glad to see you're still doing the videos. Now, even though I've always listened to your channel, even more so 2 years ago, I still believed in relationships and thought I'd find my unicorn. I guess those don't exist. My first, and it's going to be my last girlfriend actually, suggested an open relationship. Couldn't believe it. I agreed to it and she lost her mind and went crazy on me. I recently just broke up with my ex-girlfriend over the summer. She really lost it during 4th of July. So back in May of this year, my girlfriend and I have been together for a total of 1 year, 6 months. When I met her, things were great. She loved hearing about my job. Like I said, I was welding and I still do till this day, just working on certifications and things like that. I'm making it work. Family helps me out. But anyway, she loved hearing about my job. I work for a structural iron and steel company. I'm not at the top making the big bucks like most of the guys here that's been here for years, but I make pretty decent money. But when I get into underwater welding, oh man, it's going to be great. To get into special parts of an industry, you really have to know people. I'm just grateful that I do know people, but I would tell her all about my job and welding and we'd watch videos on it. She was really fascinated by it and I would show her underwater welding and she thought it was so cool. She always wanted to hear about my job and she thought it was sexy. Her words, that I was so determined. I knew exactly what I wanted to do in life and I was going for it. She loved it. So I talked to her about it all the time. I think that's part of what made her fall for me. We started dating and things were great. She kind of was in limbo with what she wanted to do. A part of her wanted to be a nurse. The other part of her wanted to be a nail technician. She told me she wanted to open a nail shop and performing other services like eyelash, massages, things like that. I was okay with it. I didn't find that interesting, but if that's what she wanted to do, then I was okay with that. Early on in our relationship, my girlfriend wanted to move into my apartment. She stressed how this would prove that we were together exclusively, monogamously. This was 3 months after we were together. I told her I kind of understood what she was talking about, but moving in together this quickly is kind of crazy. That's a big step in a relationship. I think we should have our own space for a while and then maybe consider it or just talk about moving in with each other. She just looked at me and said, "Don't you like me?" I was so confused. I didn't understand why she wanted to move so fast. She was living with her parents, by the way, about 8 months of us dating. She moved into my place. She was over at my place all the time anyway and would even stay while I was at work. My ex actually didn't get along quite well with her parents. They felt like she wasn't working hard enough and they really wanted her to go to college, but she wasn't sure if she wanted to go. I think in high school she always talked about wanting to be a nurse or even a doctor, but towards senior year she kind of lost interest. She said that she didn't want to go to college and it kind of pissed her parents off because they'd saved so much money for her to go to school. She suggested that they just give her the money so she can start off easily and start a business. They weren't having it and they didn't give it to her and they gave her another year or 2 to figure it out and hopefully choose to enroll into college and they'll use the money to help her with living expenses, food, and tuition. With the money they saved, she decides not to go, which her parents didn't give her money and they use it to travel with. She's the only child. They ended up only giving her a year and when she wasn't acting serious about going to college, sure enough, her parents started traveling the world and using the money for other things. I remember she was so fed up about that. So pissed off. That was my money. They stole my money and traveled the world with it. That was for me to live. How do you treat your kid like that? My ex-girlfriend claimed that she was going to sue her parents for spending the money, their own money, that they saved for her. They never told my ex-girlfriend about this until she was in 12th grade in high school. They were going to surprise her, letting her know that she has nothing to worry about. You don't have to take out student loans. We're going to make life easy for you. But she decided that she didn't want to. When she found out how much money it was, she thought it would be stupid to spend it on college. Maybe so, I don't know. I think as a nurse, she'll always have a job, but she didn't see it that way. She wanted to start a business. They spent her money. That's what she said, her money, and she was going to find a way to sue her parents. I'll be honest, I wasn't the biggest fan of her parents. They were a bit rude to me, so they felt as if I wasn't good enough because I only went to trade school. Even though I was making over $48,000 a year, going to school to learn welding wasn't enough to them, but I was projected to make more and more, which is what I make now, well over $59,000. It's not the top. The experienced welders I know here make over $85,000, but those are the more experienced welders, but I'm up there, and when I become an underwater welder, it'll be even more. I like where I am now, and I don't have college debt, so to be honest, my ex-girlfriend's parents are a little bougie. They kind of act like they're above everyone else, so her father is a psychiatrist and her mother is an interior designer, but she teaches at a college I believe is about to become dean of her program or whatever, but they act like they're just above everyone, and if you don't have a college degree, then you're not doing much in the world. I disagree with that, so I agree with my ex-girlfriend when it comes to that, they're a little bougie. But honestly, if I was in my ex-girlfriend's shoes, even though I went to school, I would have taken them up on that offer. I would have gone to college, so I can go to college for anything, and you guys are gonna pay for it? Okay, what's the best degree to get? All I have to do is bust my butt. I don't have to worry about eating and paying my rent or anything like that. All I gotta do is focus on my studies. Oh yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and become a surgeon, medical school, or even a lawyer or something. I would have taken advantage of that, but she didn't see it that way. My ex-girlfriend wanted money for herself. I don't think she would have taken the money and started a business. She would have taken the money and blew it on things and taken a vacation because she feels like laying on the beach. Things like that, these are just conversations I've had with her or I've heard her have with her friends, so I know she would have spent the money on dumb things. The money that they had saved, that they started saving for her when her mother was pregnant with my ex-girlfriend was well over $200,000. It was more than enough to get a great degree, get a great undergraduate degree, nice postgraduate degree, maybe even a PhD or something. I don't know. But just something that where you know you're going to make a lot of money like a doctor or a lawyer or something. Take advantage. She was stupid in that department for sure, so my ex-girlfriend moved in with me after complaining so much about her parents and them aggravating her yada yada. I caved in and I let her come move in with me. It wasn't bad. She didn't interrupt me studying or when I had to gain certificates that would help me at my job or get another job. She didn't interrupt, never bothered me or begged me for time to spend with her. She was a good girlfriend, honestly. I'll be honest, she cooked, she cleaned, she'd do a lot of stuff that worked out, but she had a job and she took over the utility bills in my apartment. I paid the rent. She paid the 2 utility bills that were pretty small. She actually is very efficient. Whenever we weren't using something, say a computer or anything, she unplugged it. She said that's just how she grew up in her household. Her parents made decent money, but they were very, very frugal. They looked like they didn't make a lot of money, but they did. They drove older cars. They cooked at home. They never ate out, which is why my ex-girlfriend loves to eat out now because growing up she couldn't do it. They were savers. So most of the time the ex and I were together and lived together was great. Until she freaking asked me about opening up our relationship. I did find out that she was talking with some guy she knew from high school. Heavily tatted dude with muscles and drive a motorcycle. I saw the Facebook messages back and forth. She claimed she'd always loved him in high school and has a bigger crush now because he's, and I quote, so badass. So before I saw the messages, she tells me one day while out at the park near my apartment that we're too young to settle down just yet. She claims she loved me and said that she doesn't want to leave me and she knows she's going to marry me. If I'm going to marry anybody, it's going to be you. Those are the words she told me, but she said she thinks that we should try to date other people, but we can still stay together. I told her I'm not doing that. Why would I want an open relationship? She told me how I had nothing to worry about and it'll benefit the both of us. It's just going to bring us both together closer. I looked in her eyes and she was dead serious. I said, okay, we can do it. In my head, I knew I was done with her and I knew she had someone lined up or she was either cheating with someone. I just knew it. The excitement on this woman's face when I agreed to this. I'll just never forget it. I don't know if she actually went and slept with that guy, but I do know that night I went through her laptop. I tried going through her phone first, but I couldn't get through the passcode. So I went through her laptop, which I knew that passcode. I typed in Facebook on her browser and it took me straight to her Facebook and it was logged in. I go to the message and sure enough, she's talking to this guy. He's in his profile pic flexing and he has all these tattoos on his arms and on his neck. And she was already sleeping with him. All these tattoos. And I believe he's a tattoo artist. I'm like, oh, look at this cool guy. So this is who she's been sleeping with. Let's go read these messages so I can be hurt and cry and get over it. I go to the messages and yeah, it's a lot of flirting immediately. I saw that they had planned to meet up. This was before she even asked me for this open relationship. So she was planning to cheat on me. I'm just reading through all this stuff and it's a lot of information. Then flirting. There was even a time she sent him breast pics and he sent his sausage to her. I was pretty pissed off about that, but I had agreed to this open relationship. And in my head, I'm never going to sleep with her again. When my lease is up, I'm moving. I'm done with her, and I'm just going to see what else is out there and try to find my wife. Yeah, I know. I said, well, she's not my wife. Let me see if I can still find my wife. Still looking for that unicorn. Nope. I didn't confront her. Didn't tell her about the guy. That's why she wanted this open relationship. I didn't do any of that. We slept in the same bed that night. When I got up the following morning, she was standing there folding clothes and I jumped out of bed, happy and excited. I said, well, this should be good for the both of us. And she smiled and said, I think so. This is going to be great. I ended up meeting someone immediately. She works at the Starbucks near my job. This girl always flirts with me. I kind of flirt back a little bit, but not so much because I was in a relationship. I would just accept her compliments basically. But now that I'm in this open relationship, I was going to ask her out. I pulled up and sure enough, she was at the window. Hey, handsome. I threw it back. Good to see you today. She lit up when I saw her light up like that. I figured, man, I got a little game here. I was never a guy that went out and hit on a bunch of women and thought I could pull a woman here and there and have anyone I wanted. I wouldn't say I was insecure, but I wasn't that confident when it came to just talking to women. When I threw that compliment at her and I saw her smile, that made me feel so good. I ended up giving her my number. I wrote it down on the paper and I told her, call me. She smiled and said, absolutely. I will. I didn't lie to her. I was upfront with the Starbucks girl. I told her the situation I was in. And I told her how my ex-girlfriend told me she wanted an open relationship. It's not something I wanted, but I pretty much told myself that I was single now and I was out to look for my wife. Starbucks girl was okay with that. She told me, well, hopefully I can be that, but let's take it slow and see what happens with us. She kept asking me, so I call you or text you. She's not going to get upset. I said, absolutely not. I'll even put you on speakerphone and you can talk to her yourself. She says, no, that'll be awkward. I believe you. I'd be talking with Starbucks girl around my ex-girlfriend in the house. She seemed okay with it, but then she started getting jealous. When I get off the phone, she questions me, why are you guys talking about traveling? By the way, we never talked about traveling together. We just talk about places that we wanted to go. But my ex-girlfriend was saying, well, it's not supposed to be like that. If you're going to deal with somebody, it's just sleeping with them or maybe going on a date here or there, but you're not traveling anywhere with anyone. That's not cool. I said, okay, I didn't plan on travel with anyone. We're just having convo. You're back in the back room talking to whoever you're talking to. And she's telling me how she doesn't like to talk on the phone as much. I said, okay, that's fine. I'll talk to her outside the apartment. Then we didn't have much time on our lease. And I knew that she kept asking me, hey, are you renewing the lease? What's going on? Did you want to move somewhere bigger? Like you said. I said, no, maybe probably sign the lease again. I'll take care of it. Don't worry about it. Stop talking about it. And she did. My plan was just ghost her and leave her and send her off on her own. It wasn't my obligation to tell her that I was moving somewhere else. So I didn't want to live with her anymore. I didn't have to tell her that. And I didn't. Starbucks. She and I were sleeping together. And even though I lived with X, she never complained. I never complained to X. I figured she's getting it from Tattoo Boy until he dumped her. I remember noticing that she wasn't texting on her phone as much anymore. And she wasn't running outside to get on the phone with someone. She was always telling me, hey, once you get off the phone, we're still together, right? And this girl you're talking to, what do you know about her? You guys slept together yet? I hope you're using protection, all types of questions. And I could tell that her and Tattoo Boy just wasn't working out anymore. By this time we had 1 month for our lease to be up. And I did not sign anything. I had already got the call from the front office asking if I was going to renew my lease. I'd already told them. No, she has no idea that I found a completely new apartment. I had movers set to come get my things and I was going to be gone. I was going to do it while she was out of the house. She had a trip planned up. She thought she was coming back to this apartment that we lived in. But no, she came back to nothing. Here's the thing. Before she left for that trip, I told her we were done. She didn't want to believe it. Her entire trip with her cousins, she spent blowing my phone up, FaceTime phone calls, text messages. I even heard them saying, put your phone down. We're on vacation. She really was trying to make sure I was still going to be there when she got back. And I kept telling her in text messages. I didn't want to disrespect her on FaceTime in front of her cousins, but I kept telling her in text messages that we are done. You can forget about us. I had her things sent to her parents' home. I didn't tell her that. I really wanted her to come back and wonder what was going on. So right before her trip, she was telling me that we need to close this relationship. She thinks that I'm getting too close to Starbucks girl. And it wasn't supposed to be that. I asked her what happened with her fling. And she said, well, I never had anything with anyone. I was just talking to someone and it didn't really work out. I thought I'd like this, but I'm not a big fan. I played it off. Like I didn't know that she had talked to this tattoo guy from high school on Facebook and had planned on meeting up. I didn't bother to look to see if she had smashed him or anything or had any sex with him because she told me she never had sex with anyone this entire time. She only talked to someone else, but I'm supposed to believe the entire time we agreed on an open relationship. We didn't have sex with each other. So I'm just supposed to believe that you just went without this entire time. I'm no dummy. I'm not stupid. She went away on her trip with her cousins. And I did exactly what I had planned. I got her stuff packed up and moved to her parents' house. Why they never texted her or called her and told her, hey, your things are in the garage. I have no idea. All I know is I showed up with the delivery guys and I told her parents that we're not going to be living together anymore. And we're breaking up. Her father opened up the garage and had us put everything in the garage, had my things packed up and had my stuff shipped to my apartment. Took my ex-girlfriend key to the front office, had the apartment cleaned very well, got my deposit scheduled to be returned. And I was on my way. Whenever my ex would FaceTime me, I'd make sure I was outside in my car. She never suspected that I moved anywhere. She had no idea until she returned. Like I said, I told her before she left that we were done. When she asked me to close the relationship, I told her I wasn't closing anything and I was enjoying my time with Starbucks girl. And it's not fair that I close it just because her situation didn't work out. But I didn't go into detail telling her about me knowing the guy from high school when my ex texted me telling me that she was returning home and they were getting on their flight. That's when I decided to block her at first. I wanted to leave the line open to have her beg and cry and see how she would react. But honestly, I didn't care. I didn't care to see that karma or revenge. Petty revenge, you guys might call it. I didn't care to see any of that. So I just simply blocked her and avoided her at all costs. Starbucks girl and I actually didn't work out. So it got a little weird, actually. So she started to pull back on me. I'm not sure exactly what it was or what I said or what I did, but she started to pull back on me. I didn't chase her at all. I just started to pull back as well. And eventually we just stopped talking. I stopped going to Starbucks because I thought it would be awkward. Maybe she found someone else. I didn't do any investigation. Honestly, man, I just focus on work and trying to become better at what I do. And I really, really want to be an underwater welder. So even though I blocked my ex-girlfriend on everything, that wasn't the last I heard from her. So let me tell you guys what happened to me. I come outside of my apartment one day and I noticed my car is leaning. I was confused and then immediately thought, oh man, I got a flat tire. I go to my driver's side and I can see that there's a flat tire. I didn't notice this big butcher knife at first, but I'm looking at the tire and I could see a gash in it. I even pushed on the tire. You can see where someone stabbed the tire. I look down and there's a big knife laying right there. I said, what type of apartment complex did I move into? I immediately thought it was some kids or something because there's no way my ex knows where I live. How could she find this out? That same day, I saw my tire slashed. I get a Facebook friend request from a beautiful woman, big boobies, Pamela Anderson, look-alike in her prime, pushed up on her shirt, gorgeous woman. She had 10 friends I didn't accept. I declined that same person friend me again and again and again until I blocked it. I got a request for something similar. Another beautiful woman with only 4 friends and I blocked it. Guys, this just went on in the whole day. New profiles friend requested me. I blocked them all. I was about to deactivate my Facebook page, but I noticed it stopped. I said, okay, so this is weird. That day I had my tire changed. I called AAA and everything was taken care of and I truly thought it was just a kid in the neighborhood. I started going around asking people if we had cameras on buildings and things and we didn't. And I was talking to neighbors and neighbors were saying, no, nothing like that's ever happened around here. We don't have that type of activity. You sure you don't have a crazy ex out there? And I immediately thought and got scared. But I said, there's no way she'd know where I live. Later that night, I get another friend request this time. My ex-girlfriend is in the profile. She created a new page because she only had 17 friends. It was her. Curious me, I accepted because I wanted to talk to her and I accepted her friend request. Immediately go into messages and I start to message her. I asked her, you didn't happen to slice a tire today, did you? No response. And I type her name. Is this you? Why aren't you responding? You're reading the messages, but you're not responding. I noticed that I get a bunch of notifications on my Facebook. I click on it and I see that she had been tagging me in things. This woman posts saying that I domestically abused her. I caused her to have a miscarriage. She's just saying all this stuff that's not true. Claiming I cheated on her with some girl and I forced her to try to open our relationship that she didn't want. So I started cheating on her regardless. She even posted fake Photoshop images of her face bruised up. You could tell it was Photoshop. Even her own people were calling it out. That doesn't even look real, girl. You're crazy. Why the new Facebook? What are you talking about here? Luckily, no one was buying the crap she was selling. People started hitting me up saying, dude, what's going on? What the heck is that crap on Facebook? That's when I deleted her and decided she had lost her freaking mind. She had went crazy because I left her. I can only imagine how she felt when she got to the apartment and realized that everything was gone. Maybe she called her parents and they told her that her stuff was there. I don't know how it happened and how it worked out. I played it over and over in my head. I kind of wish I didn't block her because I wanted to see her beg and cry, but I didn't feel bad. I don't feel like I'm gonna get karma for what I did. I didn't really want to open relationship, but I did agree to it. Knew she was cheating on me or something for her to even ask me that question. I wish I could have proved that she sliced my tires, but she never admitted to it and I didn't have proof. I couldn't even get her arrested. I thought, well, I still got the knife for fingerprints has to be on it, but they're not going to even arrest her, right? They're not going to get fingerprints from her if they don't have her under arrest. So I just let that go. It never happened again. I still park in the same spot. She never showed up again. I'm just moving on with my life and I'm staying focused on my career. I don't have time for women. I really don't unless it's just me getting some enjoyment, the enjoyment that I want out of them. I'm not wasting my time on focusing on marriage or relationship. It's honestly a big waste of time, guys. It's a huge waste of time. You spend months and months, sometimes years with a person just for them to switch on you. Why do that? Just invest into yourself. Become great. Invest into your health, your body, your career, whatever. You're way better off. Thanks again. True story. Take care. And sir, you are 100% correct. Invest in yourself, man. Focus on your career. Focus on your money. Focus on your health. Focus on you. You're better off that way. Truly, you truly are. He got with this girl. Oh, she loved him. Oh, I love your career. Oh, you're so ambitious. So sexy. I like you. Let's have an open relationship. We're too young. As soon as she saw the dude with the tattoos and she felt she had a chance with him, I don't love you anymore. All of a sudden, the way I felt before is gone. It's ridiculous. Why waste your time? It sucks. It'll start off so great, but just end so nasty. They'll say things like, well, I have a right to change my mind. People change their mind. Guys, focus on yourselves. Seriously, focus on yourselves. Thanks for sending in this story, man. Guys, if you want to send in a story, send it to truestorynation@gmail.com. Here, I'll put it on the screen. That's truestorynation@gmail.com. I'll catch you guys at the next one.